What's up? It's Guru Jojo. Real quick, I want to basically explain the difference between pro and con energies. And this is going to be different than, the diagrams that we use in order to compare something that may be beneficial versus something that may be, versus its disadvantages. This is literally, it's more about a comparison of words. So, generally speaking, con energies are words that begin with the word con. They often have to do with a mental or emotional state being evoked. Pro words have to do more so with action. It has to do with actually manifesting something more so into reality, working towards the energy. So we can use con energies in order to help us be more progressive. But in general, con energies are not in reality. So we could take an example of confidence versus progression, or confidence versus proficiency. Okay? And you look at something like confidence versus something like proficiency. Well, notice that confidence has to do more so with a feeling that's usually temporary, and it usually ends up giving off an impression of self-righteousness and feelings of grandiose for the most part. So a lot of the times this is manipulated by magic or use of the elements. We create magic every single day. Magic is simply just the way that we end up mixing and matching the elements that are available to us in this world, right? Fire element has to do with motivation, action, passion. Water element has to do with the way we nurture ourselves with our emotions and feelings. The air element has to do with our communication, the information that we take from others and the information that we give others, and the way that we transmit our resources. The earth element has more so to do with our resources, our possessions, our values, what we already have installed within us that gives us a sense of feeling worthy. So generally con energy, it manipulates an element to an extreme to give off a particular impression to others. But that impression may not actually be real. It's deceptive because it doesn't assume any sort of pro-like energies. It doesn't assume that that energy that was evoked within the self would then give off physical actions to be represented. So, for example, proficiency has more so to do with actually being good at something, actually being progressive, actually moving forward, actually being well skilled, where confidence has more so to do with a feeling of being that. So it's when you can see somebody is appearing to be of enhanced energy, where it's like you could see somebody seems to be important, or you can see that somebody seems to be giving off a particular aura that represents that this is a high class person. This is somebody that has wealth, that has positive energy, because of the manipulation that they're giving you, that they're allowing you to perceive. But it does not assume any sort of proficiency. It doesn't assume any sort of skill. It doesn't assume any sort of class in that person. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's the difference. We could even take another example, like something being a conflict versus something being a problem, right? A conflict is going to assume that you can't move past the situation because there's something in the way. So a conflict is more of an excuse. It's again a state of mind. It's it's almost like giving up or using the excuse to not perform. Whereas a problem is something that you have to use operations, you have to calculate, you have to solve the issue. So a lot of the times problems take progress to move forward and move past the issue, whereas a conflict is an assumed pause, an assumed inaction, and it's a assumed negative state that causes one to not move forward in a situation. So again, this is a state of mind versus a state of action. A last example is going to be consciousness versus processing, or you could say like consciousness versus proprioception. So consciousness, again, is just a state of mind. You could be consciously aware of something and you can tell others you're consciously aware of it. You can show others that you're consciously aware of it. But proprioception is now taking what you're consciously aware of and applying it kinesthetically. So actually applying actions towards what you're taking in. So it's like this is when you have the ability to be in tune with your physical body, your nervous system, and therefore you're acting upon the appropriate behaviors to be in balance or to give and receive with your own physical vessel in this lifetime. So again, what are you, like, you could be consciously aware of something, but are you receiving to move forward, to be progressive, to actually act upon what you've became consciously aware of? So that's basically all I want to say. This is a very brief sort of podcast type of thing. I wouldn't even call it a podcast. It's just like an audio thought. I don't know, audio insight. Boom. Thank you for listening. Blessings, light, and love to everybody.